logged in. Oh, what? Oh, crispy cones. No. Is it good? How does? Oh, I need to try it. It's gonna be for our July 1st meeting. So. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think we'll probably still be on the road. So.
Let's call to order our city council meeting for the city of Chubbuck for June 17th, 2026. Let's begin tonight by following Councilmember Heiner in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, any conflicts that need to be disclosed with any of the agenda items today?
No.
None. Great, thank you. Before we go to approval of minutes, I just want to acknowledge, as you came in today, the wonderful display that's in our foyer.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. If you came in the back, which I think looks like you must have, I encourage you to go walk out and look at that. That's been done by Connor and Alpine Academies, and it will grow as they do a art display in here for our July 1st celebration of America's 250th year for the Declaration of Independence. But they've done a tremendous job so far. Looks good. I wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, I visited with the lady out there that was working on it, and she says they're just getting started and it'll be a lot more coming in.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great that night. Council looking for approval or comments and approval of our minutes for the June 3rd study session and council meeting.
Having reviewed the minutes for the June 3rd City Council study session as well as the City Council meeting, I move that we approve the same.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please, Joey.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez, Councilmember Reese,
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner.
Yes.
Thank you. General business item number 1 is an approval of the Fox Hollow Estates preliminary plat and findings of fact and conclusion of law. Sean, our applicant's not here. Ryan, any recommendation on how to proceed?
If the record's fine, I mean, he's not here and it gets rejected, that would be his issue. If the staff report and what we have is enough to satisfy the council, they can act on it, or we can table it until the applicant goes up. So I guess the applicant not being here, they'll just be subject to whatever decision council makes here.
Council, I think, and I guess I default to staff, this is a pretty routine process and development, so I'd like to hear, council, if you're okay, let's hear staff report and then gauge if we want to have input from the applicant. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
John, please go ahead.
Sean Harris, Development Services Manager. The plat before you is, as you can see, is in 2 phases. Blue is phase 1, yellow phase 2. Staff has reviewed it against City Code Title 16, 17, and 18 and found that it is compliant. The Land Use and Development Commission recommended approval of the plat at its regular meeting on June 9th after reviewing the criteria of section 1712-100 of City Code. Staff recommends approval If approved, recommend approval of findings of fact and conclusions of law with the following conditions. The first one being the final plat along with supporting documents be submitted in accordance with Title 17 of the Chubbuck Municipal Code. And number two, a secondary pressurized irrigation system be designed and constructed, which may require upgrades to the existing irrigation pump station or the installation of an independent irrigation pump station.
Council, any questions of the staff?
No.
Is the applicant okay with the recommendations?
Haven't heard.
I would assume so, but
Just make them with the recommendations.
They're not here to object, and so if they're not okay with it, they could take action on that. I will tell you, I think that that this comes from land use, and they were fine with them at land use, but if they're not here to object to them, you guys can make a decision that you see fit, and they can then do with that what they decide.
That's right. At land use, they were here and they accepted these exact conditions.
Recommendations, okay. That's all I got.
Well, with that, I'd make a motion to approve the preliminary plat of Fox Hollow Estate subdivision, including the findings and fact and conclusion of law, along with the recommendations explained by staff.
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call vote, please, Joey.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilmember Reese.
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner.
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Agenda item number 2 is the approval of Brookstone Estates Division 15 preliminary plat and the finding of facts conclusion of law. This is a different applicant who is also not present, so if it's okay with council, we'll do the same process and ask for staff report.
Sean Harris, Development Services Manager. Staff reviewed the preliminary plat for Brookstone Estates Division 15, found it compliant with city codes 16, 17, and 18. The Land Use and Development Commission recommended approval of the plat at its regular meeting on June 9th after reviewing the criteria of section 17-12-100 of city code. Staff recommends approval. If approved, recommend approval of findings of fact and conclusions of law with the following conditions. The final plat along with supporting documents be submitted in accordance with Title 17 of the Chubbuck Municipal Code, and a secondary pressurized irrigation system be designed and constructed utilizing the Fort Hall Irrigation Project irrigation water. And again, at the land use meeting, the applicant was here and accepted the conditions, the exact conditions.
Questions, council, or a motion?
I'll move that we approve the preliminary plat for Brookstone Estates Division 15, and that we further approve the findings of fact and conclusions of law with the recommended conditions discussed by staff.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Reese.
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner.
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Agenda item 3 is approval of an additional firework permit for year 2026. Joey, anything you want to share?
No, we just had one more applicant that had came through that we were unable to process before your last meeting, but we're able to get on this agenda. So,
I'll move to approve the firework permit for, I'm gonna say this wrong, I'm sure, Obishan explosives for 2026.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Heiner.
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilmember Reese.
Yes.
Agenda item 4 is the review of bids for the 2026 pavement management mill and overlay project and consider authorization for the mayor to enter into a contract. Public Works Director, Mr. Morrison.
Thank you. As described in the memo, I do recognize you just received the memo earlier this afternoon, so it was kind of a last minute thing, but our project for pavement maintenance this year was primarily focused on some pretty significant mill and overlay project. As you can see there on the map, those are the segments of roadway that were identified as the priorities this year. And so we put that project out to bid. We opened bids at 1 o'clock today. We received 4 bids. You can see the bid prices there. The low bid is $676,402 from Suncor Construction and Materials. Our estimate was just under $950,000, so it was quite a pleasant surprise. I actually read the bid a couple of times before I announced it. And so our request would be to approve the mayor to enter into a contract with Suncor to complete the project. Given that it is significantly below our budget and our estimate, we would like to utilize the funds on our next set of priorities. We're still trying to figure out what those are. The one that comes to mind initially is Joy Street, especially the north end on the backside of Chubbuck Elementary, is in really significant need of some work. So we may try to incorporate some additional work there, but as I mentioned, if it turns out to be a substantial size project of any magnitude of cost, I would come back and ask for approval there too. But we would like to use the funds as completely as we can, but if there's any questions on this, happy to answer.
No, I have no question.
No questions, would entertain a motion. Thank you, Bridger.
I'll move that we authorize the mayor to award the 2026 asphalt mill and pave project to Suncor Construction and Materials Incorporated for the amount of $676,402.
Second.
Joy, did you get the second? Mr. Roger?
Yep.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Reese,
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner.
Yes.
Council, agenda item 5 is a resolution and a cooperative agreement associated with the widening of Yellowstone Highway. We placed that on the agenda today with the assumption that we would have those agreement documents back from ITD. We haven't received those yet, so we're going to delay this action, but I have asked Bridger to give a summation of what this item is in preparation for our next meeting.
Yeah, so we've seen preliminary versions of the agreement. We thought we would have the final version back. Unfortunately, we don't. But so the ITD project, which will widen Yellowstone from essentially Park Lawn up through the intersection of Siphon and New Day, has some components of the project that are incorporated at the city's request. And then there's also things like the traffic signal that just by policy, ITD policy, the local jurisdiction has some financial obligation to those components. And so the proposed agreement is something that just defines what the city's obligation is, what ITD's obligation is moving forward. It estimates cost on all those things, defines share, and then even defines some of the obligations during construction, like what our role will be in some of the inspections or testing. Well, we don't do testing, but it does define that we're not doing testing. So the agreement is set out to just put that in place before they start the project, before they even bid it. They asked that we pass a resolution. We did this on the prior project with the slab replacement project where we're replacing our water line. So very similar, you've seen a version of this before, but they were hopeful to have it ready for us today. It hasn't happened. Ballpark numbers for, I guess, if you guys are interested. So they've identified our share of the signal, which I should have brought the numbers, I didn't, but it's in the $250,000 range, I think. Mayor, you probably remember better than I do. So there's that component. We are replacing our water line. That's a significant project of like $700 and some thousand. We have some obligation for the pathway. They're installing a shared use path on the east side of Yellowstone. Pathway, lighting, landscaping. They've done really, they've been very cooperative and really have allowed their project to include, really to match, I guess, what we've tried to do on New Day to to the greatest extent possible. So those things come at some obligation of the city. However, all of that said, they are giving us credit for the right-of-way that the CDA purchased on New Day, as well as some of the right-of-way that was donated to the city through development on Yellowstone. And the ending result, I think, is going to be that the water department pays for most of their water project and the rest of the costs are covered.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Too much information, too little information.
Let's sign the agreement.
Great.
Yeah, perfect.
I was hopeful that that's what would happen today.
Thank you, Bridget. Council, I don't know if I shared this with you, but if I have, I'm okay to duplicate this conversation. With all of the transportation funding cuts at the state level, many of these types of projects have been canceled. And we have a district engineer who's been promoted to a leadership role. I guess the short version is local representation at ITD saved this project. If it would have fallen off, it likely would have fallen off for 5+ years.
Oh, wow.
And they are going to bid with the intention of starting small pieces of it this fall. So if you're running that circle of ITD staff, leadership, transportation board, express your appreciation for their commitment to this project. It's a big deal. Great. Number 6, groundwater mitigation discussion and consider approving the mayor to enter into an agreement to participate with the East Snake Plain Aquifers Cities Mitigation Plan. Bridger, please.
Again, we don't have the agreement in front of you. We've been trying to really cram some stuff in at the last minute here, but it's all for a reason, and I'll explain. Historically, the city of Chubbuck has participated in a groundwater mitigation plan. I think most of you are aware that there's been a big issue with groundwater depletion of our aquifer, and there's been, fights over usage and water rights and all of that. So we've participated with the American Falls Aberdeen Groundwater District in the past, which has essentially protected us from curtailment, which means we're allowed to use our water rights and pump what we've historically pumped. We do pay for that, and they take that money and use it to kind of supplement or offset our impact by recharge from some other location or some other water source. That has cost us about $20,000 to $25,000 a year. We've only had a need to cover about half of our water rights in that plan because the curtailment orders historically the timing of that curtailment order means that some of our rights aren't subject to it. That changed this year. Idaho Department of Water Resources issued curtailment orders for all water rights since like 1900, which essentially covers all water rights, all groundwater rights in eastern Idaho. And so we're not the only ones in this boat, but that means that we've got to get the rest of our water rights either included in a mitigation plan or stop using them, which would mean that we would have to reduce what we use in the summer. And so the first step was I reached out to the groundwater district. It took quite a bit of time for them to work through what that would look like for us. The response back was it's likely not a feasible solution for us. They threw out their initial preliminary cost of like $250,000 a year for us to be covered. The other option that we were aware of and I pursued was this Eastern Snake Plain, Aquifer Cities Mitigation Plan. So when these plans were first being set up, there was a coalition of cities that formed a mitigation plan. We were not a signatory or a member of that initially because we had another solution. But I reached out to this group. They went back and forth and they have agreed that we can participate. That agreement I just got sent yesterday. I sent you an email today, Ryan. So it's short notice, I recognize that. But this is time sensitive in that we need to get this taken care of as quickly as possible. Their initial requirement is for us to have the agreement signed and payments made by July 1st. So the request would be, if you guys are comfortable with it, is to pursue this as long as the agreement meets Ryan's review and concerns, and the mayor's okay with it, giving him permission to move forward and make that payment. Sorry, I missed the punchline. The payment that we would be required to pay the city's group is just under $14,000 a year. So it's even a savings from what we've historically been paying. It seems like it's a great option. It's worked for a number of other cities. I don't really anticipate that there's going to be any issues with the agreement or anything to that effect, but it is time sensitive, so I didn't want to wait to get that done. So if you're comfortable, I guess the request would be just as long as the agreement meets Attorney Lewis's review and the mayor's approval, that we would move forward with it.
Yeah,
Are you
I think
comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that. I think the motion could just be based on the dramatic difference, just authorize the mayor to enter into a contract, an acceptable contract to participate in the Eastern Snake River Plain Aquifer Cities Mitigation Plan. And yeah, I think that would be just fine.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to the effect that Ryan just described.
Second. Joe, you got that? Roll call vote on that motion, please.
Councilmember Reese,
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans.
Yes.
Council, we have before us the claims for June 17th, 2026. Any questions on those claims, discussion, or would entertain a motion?
Having reviewed the claims for June 17th as presented, I will make a motion to approve those claims.
You have the second, Joey?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Reese,
Yes.
Councilmember Heiner,
Yes.
Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Council, I see everyone stacking their packets like the meeting is over. But there is on the back of your agenda, this general announcements, number 1. The mayor gets a minute.
Okay.
So please entertain me. I wanted to share 2 things with you. The first is you have this brochure that was placed before you today. And it's appropriately identified that it's a revamp of the Adopt a Park program. Cami and our Parks Director, Aaron, have been working on this. A couple of the significant changes are that you can now adopt a park for a day or a week or a month. You're not committed to do that for the entire duration of the summer. And if you flip to the left-hand side of on the back piece, they're striving to increase meaningful recognition to those who come and participate in the form of social media and acknowledgement of their efforts while they're at the park, and then a recognition from City Council in November. Tammy, this brochure is just a handful of days old, isn't it? We did share this with our Parks and Rec Committee yesterday morning, and they were really excited about, 1, the program, 2, the opportunity to use the QR code. There's an automatic sign-up piece that Joey has facilitated. They asked for bundles of brochures to go hand out. They're gonna, that group is excited and motivated to have an impact in our community. So they're gonna give them to their peers, businesses, put them on display in their businesses, and start to spread that word. So I wanted you to be aware of it so that if you heard any conversations, comments, questions, you knew what we were doing.
Can we put these in the water bills? That might be a good way to disperse some.
Yeah. I was gonna take a hand a few of them out to my neighbors.
Do we have still some left? Great, thank you. Second item that I want to talk about quickly is I want to acknowledge our employees. I think everybody knows the amazing job that they do. Sometimes we only see that maybe here at council, and oftentimes those efforts just go unrecognized. But especially tonight, I'm putting Chief Sasser on the spot, and he doesn't even know it. He's 19 and a half years approximately in service to the city of Chubbuck. Next Tuesday, the 23rd of June, he'll celebrate 3 years since his appointment as chief of our department. And if you've been around Chief, sorry, I call him Nick all the time. You've been around Chief Sasser at all, you know that he demonstrates leadership, commitment, quality in everything that he does. If you would ask him what business he's in, I've heard him repeatedly say he's in the business of people. Internally and externally, he views that on how he serves our residents. But he also views it on how he takes care of and serves alongside of his staff. So I don't have a birthday cake for you, anything like that. I wish the room was full, but Chief, we appreciate what you've done for us and want to recognize your 3 years with us next Tuesday. I wanted the council to be aware of that. Thank you for what you do. Speech? That's my items, council. Anything that you would like to discuss tonight?
Is there anything we need to help with for Chubbuck Days? That the council needs to be involved in now or then, or? Just be present. Okay. And we're doing the same, we're doing the parade, throwing candy. Yeah, we talked about different methods of transportation for the parade. My ideas thrown around fire. We talked about the, yeah, I think if you can just be there and show your involvement, support, resident, celebrate. Perfect.
Well, well,
The park also
mhm.
coming right up, so be there and be great as well. Perfect.
Especially after we get through with the parade, it would be nice if all of us would be there, just meandering around, just talking to people.
After the parade.
I have extended an invitation. I call it an invitation. I think others probably may view it as an edict for each department to have a booth and presence at the festival part of Chubbuck Days. Just an opportunity for them to engage with our residents, maybe share a little information and education. I realize it's an additional burden on them, but I think it's important for them to see the faces of our organizations.
Yeah, I love
Good
that.
idea.
Perfect.
See, it's a good idea. Just kidding.
Because they're the ones that are required to do it.
Well, I know. There's two sides to every transaction for sure.
Also, do you want council input on the bridging, like the revenue sources? Is that something you want to work on together? Is that something you want to work on with staff and just present to us?
The investment piece, or
All investment, infill, policy.
if you're okay, let me create a framework of what I think our opportunities are,
Okay,
and we'll start there.
okay.
Is that okay? Great. Anything else, council? Appreciate your efforts today and input, especially study session and here tonight. Thank you very much. We will adjourn.
Mayor.
Oh, we should get Nick a box of crayons.
Yellowstone Corridor Commercial.
He would know what that means.